What is up, Omnibus collectors? Riley here, and today we're going to be talking about some Godzilla comics, so stay tuned. So like I said, y'all, we're talking Godzilla comics today. I am a huge Godzilla fan. I have posted at least one video on my channel where I talked about some of my Godzilla Blu-rays that I have and stuff. And I also have collected actually somewhat recently, collected all of the Godzilla comics that I could. And I wanted to make a video kind of explaining a collecting order, a guide to collecting Godzilla comics in collected editions. Now, that specifically said, I'm only talking about stuff that has been collected. So I know there's a lot of material that has not been released in collected editions, a bunch of one-shots and stuff, especially from Dark Horse. There's a bunch of stuff that has not been collected. And I'm also not talking about the earlier manga that has not been localized. So anything like that, keep in mind, that's not what we're talking about today. I'm saying that because I know people in the comments will be like, well, what about Godzilla versus Charles Barkley? It wasn't collected, so that's why I'm not bringing it up. Anyway, Godzilla has had a long history in comics. Since the giant monster has been introduced, he started appearing in comics from Marvel, I'm talking about in the West, back in the 70s. So he had a series that ran for 24 issues back in the 70s, and this was collected in 2006 by Marvel as one of their essential editions. And here is that book right here, Godzilla, the King of the Monsters, Essential Edition. This is an all-in-one paperback. Now, the Essential Editions, if you're not familiar with them, basically these are thick phone book looking paperbacks that reprint material completely in black and white. These are meant to be more affordable books. So this 24 issue book has a cover price of $19.99. Marvel used to publish a ton of these, and DC had a similar version of that called the Showcase Editions, where basically we had multiple books for multiple characters, and we were lucky enough that Godzilla was one of the characters that they presented in one of these essential editions. So like I said, collects the entire 24 issue run. This is written by Doug Munch, and then it has art by Herb Trimpe, or Trimpy, however I pronounce it. Someone in the comments will let me know which one is correct, as well as some other creators being involved here as well. Now, this series involves Godzilla actually being part of the Marvel Universe. So we have him interacting with characters. I don't know if you can really see from the artwork on the camera there, but he's interacting with like the Thing and Dum Dum Dugan from S.H.I.E.L.D. There's a lot of interaction with various Marvel-related characters that happen throughout the book. Now, this has never been collected in color before. This is the only collected edition that exists of the Marvel Godzilla material. This was released back in 2006. I think I mentioned that earlier, and it has not been reprinted, so right now it is out of print and a bit harder to find. I was lucky to have found this recently for not much over cover, considering costs for shipping and stuff, so I was very happy to have been able to find that. I think this would be an excellent book if Marvel could somehow, someday, maybe get together with IDW and make a new collected edition. It would be wonderful to see this in an omnibus format, but until then, we'll have to just be happy with the old paperback black and white essential edition. Now, after Godzilla's run at Marvel, the monster got moved over to Dark Horse. Now, Dark Horse had quite a bit of material that was released focusing on Godzilla, but there's only a few collected editions. And like I mentioned, there's some one-shots and stuff like the Charles Barkley magazine, and a bunch of other stuff that has not been collected into various editions, but we do have 3 Dark Horse collected editions. The first one is Godzilla by Kazuhisa Iwata, and this is a reprint of a Godzilla manga, and this is a full-size paperback. So it is a manga, but it is presented in the same format as the typical, paperback size. When they printed the series in single issues, because they did print it across 6 single issues, it was presented in color, and then it got translated to black and white when it got put into the trade paperback edition. So this is basically, I believe it was a adaptation of the Godzilla Returns movie, the beginning of the Heisei era of the movies and stuff. I was able to get this copy for a decent price on either Amazon or eBay, but this is just titled Godzilla, so it does get kind of tricky to find online since it's not... it doesn't have a subtitle that really denotes it from anything else. This one is a nice little volume. I'm very happy to have this one in my collection. It has some really awesome artwork in there that I would love to see. It'd be really awesome to see those colored editions like we had from the single issues get represented to us in a nice new format. But again, since it's not an IDW who currently has the rights published thing, I don't know if there's going to be any sort of ability to republish. Now, there are two more collected editions, and these are slightly smaller collections. And I'll show you. You can see the difference there in size, and then also they're not quite as wide. There are two of these, and this is the original Dark Horse ongoing series. The first one is Godzilla Age of Monsters. Now, this one's interesting. Released in 1998, this has, let's see, King of the Monsters Special Number 1, Color Special Number 1, Godzilla King of the Monsters issues 0 through 4, and 16 Godzilla vs. Hero Zero Number 1, and a story from Dark Horse Presents Number 106. And this is all presented in black and white. Most of those stories were in color. Now, also interesting is to note, man, there's some beautiful art in here. Check that out. This is, again, Age of Monsters. Another thing that's interesting to note is a lot of the creators here, a lot of these familiar names. Steve Bissett, Arthur Adams, Kevin Maguire. There's a lot of stuff by Kevin Maguire, and there is a story at the end of the book by one Ed Brubaker. So there's a lot of awesome stuff in that Dark Horse book. Now, the next one, also from Dark Horse, this is the third and the last of Dark Horse's paperbacks. This is Godzilla Past, Present, and Future. This collects everything else from that series, issues 5 through 15, and a story from a decade of Dark Horse number 4. So this one also has the black and white artwork. We've got some material from Arthur Adams again, and then see if there's any other bigger names. I think Art Adams is the biggest name that's involved in this one. Let's see some good Godzilla art on these pages. Like I said, once again, it's black and white. This is the same trim size as that other Dark Horse book that I just showed, so it is a bit smaller than the standard paperback, but it's not quite as small as a volume of manga. Now, that's what we have for Dark Horse, and I mentioned it a second ago, but after Dark Horse, we did see the rights to the character get moved over to IDW, and this happened quite a bit later. There was a kind of a lull in time of when there was no new Godzilla stuff being presented. Now, I have most of this stuff, and the stuff that I don't have, there's a reason why I don't own it, and I'm going to talk about that and then show kind of information on the screen about what those things are. Now, the first series that was published over at IDW is the Godzilla Kingdom of Monsters, and this is the one that was started by Eric Powell, written by Eric Powell, who's known, of course, for his Dark Horse series, The Goon, and a bunch of other things that he's been involved in. And then we have other creators, writers Tracy Marsh, Jason Charamea, and pencils by Phil Hester, who's known for a lot of superhero work, including doing the work on Kevin Smith's Green Arrow run, as well as Victor Santos, and then other people involved, inks, colors, and all that stuff. So this is full color art. This is the first book I'm showing today that has full color artwork. This is the entire series. So we have all 12 issues of the Kingdom of Monsters series included here. And in this series, we get to see Godzilla fighting off against a lot of his most well-known foes. We see Anguirus right here. I don't want to go any further to spoil much stuff, but you know, I've got right now Rodan and Batra popping up. But just a lot of fun. Actually, I want to show this off. So mild spoilers, just a splash page here, but that is some really awesome looking stuff from the middle of this book. So this was a fun run. I picked up a few of those issues when they came out. I remember when the first issue came out as a big deal, Godzilla returning to comics and all that stuff, and a lot of shops got a specific variant for issue number 1 where Godzilla's foot was stomping on their shop. So for me, anyone who's from the Houston area, you know Bedrock City, that was my shop, the location on Westheimer before they moved across the street, and I remember picking up that single issue of number 1 with his foot just smashing into Bedrock City Comics, and I thought that was so cool that they got their own variant for that. That was the first time that I saw that kind of thing happen. Now, after the Kingdom of Monsters series, there was a mini-series titled Gangsters and Goliaths, and this was written by John Layman. This is the first of a few books that I don't physically have here. And this was actually a really fun mini-series, Gangsters and Goliaths. Layman is known for his work on Chew, a great series from Image, and then he's joined by, I think it was Alberto Ponticelli on artwork for this mini-series. And basically we have a story that involves a Yakuza member and dealing with stuff with Kaiju and Godzilla and all that stuff. It was a really fun mini-series. I read this in single issues, never bought the collection, and I was bummed to find out more recently when I was trying to fill out my collection that it was not available for cheap prices. It had gone out of print. And luckily, we have a new book that's coming out that contains this as well as 2 other stories. I'm going to mention that in a little bit as I get to those other 2 stories. Now the next one is another one that I don't have on me, and that is Godzilla Legends. This was a 5-issue miniseries. Every issue of Godzilla Legends was actually written and drawn by a different creative team, and each issue focused on another monster. So this was a fun little miniseries. Not my favorite one, but this one also is very out of print and hard to find, but it is being recollected in another edition that I will again highlight in a little bit as I get there. Now after this, we had a series that was written by Dwayne Swierczynski, and we have artwork here by Simon Gain. Dwayne Swierczynski, for me, the thing that I know him the best from is his Cable series over at Marvel. He wrote Cable after Messiah Complex, leading into Messiah War, and then leading into Second Coming. He did that like 24, 25 issue Cable series. Anyway, he did a 13 issue Godzilla series. It was just titled Godzilla, and it was recollected as 3 volumes, and then one more time they collected it as History's Greatest Monster. This is all 13 issues in one nice paperback. I love this painted color. You can see Space Godzilla and Hedorah, and I think that's Rodan, yeah, on the back there. Gigan in the corner, Anguirus in this corner. So some awesome artwork here. I absolutely love this. This collects that entire series. We got some awesome artwork from the middle of the book here. Space Godzilla, action-packed. A lot of awesome stuff going on in there. I'm using the word awesome way too much. My copy's a little bit rough. I've got a little wear on the top of the spine there and similar on the bottom of the spine, but I'm glad to have this in my collection. Like I said, this is all 13 issues of that series that was published around 2012 to 2013. The all-in-one paperback was released in 2014. Now this brings us to my personal favorite and a lot of people's personal favorite Godzilla story as far as the comics go, and that is Godzilla the Half-Century War. Now this is a 5-issue miniseries that has art and writing by one James Stokoe. James Stokoe you might know from a few other things. He did an Alien miniseries, Orc Stain. He's had a couple other things here and there that he's done for other publishers like Marvel. He did this 5-issue miniseries that was basically showing the war that's happening with one man. It's kind of like the best description, the best analogy I can give is this is Moby Dick, but using Godzilla instead of the whale. This is a beautiful book. This is the oversized hardcover edition of this book. I had the paperback, but I upgraded this oversized hardcover because the artwork by James Stokoe is so beautiful. He has such an amazing detailed style that works so well for this setting, for these kaiju stories. I absolutely love it. There is a reason why this book is so many people's favorite Godzilla story of all time. This one, I believe, is still in print because IDW recently re-released the hardcover earlier this year, so I believe it is still available. If you are going to get one Godzilla comic, I highly recommend picking up the Half-Century War. It is also available as a paperback, but the paperback is not currently in print, last I checked. while the hardcover is. Now, this leads us to the longest ongoing Godzilla title, period. Actually, I was going to say since the Marvel one, but it's actually one issue longer than the Marvel series, and that is Godzilla Rulers of Earth. And we have more complete collections. This is volume 1. Look at that awesome cover. And then volume 2 of Rulers of Earth. Like I said, 25 issues collected across these 2 complete collections. Otherwise, there were 6 smaller collections that collected about 4 issues each. This is written by Chris Mowry with art by Matt Frank and Jeff Zornow. Matt Frank is known for a lot of different work with kaiju related stuff. He did all the artwork for the Gamera Blu-ray box set by Arrow. He is a wonderful artist and definitely knows what the hell he's doing when it comes to kaijus. So this is a really cool set to have. I love those covers on here. Those are just absolutely beautiful. I think that both of these were actually recently reprinted again by IDW, but they originally did come out back in 2016 and 2019 as the second one. I'm reading the dates on here, and I don't know if that's absolutely correct or not, but they did reprint the first volume at least, so those should be available. Now, moving on to another that I don't have physically. Actually, the last 4 of these I don't have physically in my collection, and I'm going to explain why I don't have them physically and talk about the upcoming books that contain these. So we have Godzilla Cataclysm, Godzilla in Hell, Godzilla Oblivion, and Godzilla Rage Across Time. Now, Godzilla Cataclysm is a miniseries written by Cullen Bunn, and this was a really excellent one. I don't remember who did the artwork there, but it was beautiful. It had a great storyline. I highly recommend that one. And then Godzilla in Hell is probably my second favorite Godzilla story of all time. Basically, this is a series of 5 one-shot issues by different creators, different artists, including James Stokoe, who present Godzilla journeying in a very Dante's Inferno Divine Comedy type sense of Godzilla traveling through hell and the different circles of hell and then getting out on the other side, and him seeing a bunch of the other monsters that we're familiar with from his movies and stuff like that. This is a fantastic miniseries that was originally released back in 2016. Like I said, 5 issues, and this one is also very, very hard to find, very out of print. If I'm not mistaken, I think the first issue got re-released by IDW in one of those really big formats. They did like an artist edition or whatever of just the first issue, and I would love to track that down because the artwork there is just phenomenal by James Stokoe. Then Oblivion, also 2016. This was written by, I think it was Joshua Hale Fialkov. Josh Fialkov had been doing a little bit of stuff over at DC not too long before this, such as iVampire, and this is another fun miniseries to get into. I really like this one. The miniseries are cool because they usually get bigger name creators to write the miniseries. So that's really nice to see some of these bigger names like Bunn and Lehman and Fialkov writing on these. And then finally we have Godzilla Rage Across Time, also for 2016. This was another 5-issue miniseries that, similar to Legends and Godzilla in Hell, was a series of 5 basic disconnected one-shot stories, each of these taking place with Godzilla going to another moment in time. So we get to see Godzilla in different eras of, like feudal Japan and stuff like that. So that was a fun little mini-series as well. Now, I mentioned that there are upcoming collected editions coming out, similar to all of those nice, thick, complete collection paperbacks that I was showing off for the other Godzilla IDW titles. They are putting 2 more out. Now, the first one is coming out in May of 2021, is what we have from Amazon, and that is called Godzilla Unnatural Disasters. So I'll put the picture up here so you can see what it looks like. And Godzilla Unnatural Disasters is going to collect the 3 different, let's call them anthology miniseries. So it's going to have Godzilla in Hell, it's going to have Godzilla Legends, and it's going to have Godzilla Rage Against Time all in one place. The other book, and I'm going to put the picture up here, is Godzilla World of Monsters, and this one is going to have the other 3 miniseries. This is going to have Cataclysm and Oblivion, as well as Gangsters and Goliaths. So that said, everything should be in print or coming into print for all of the IDW Godzilla stuff at this point. So if you have not ventured into buying any of IDW's Godzilla material, this is going to be the perfect time to get it. This other volume comes out in August of 2021. I'm very excited for both of these because, like I said, I don't have these physically in my collection, and I was a big fan of pretty much all of these stories. I'd say Legends is probably the lowest one on my tier, but everything else is really solid stuff. If you're a fan of Godzilla, I highly recommend it. Now, I also don't have these two, but there are two Godzilla collected editions that came from Legendary Comics. Legendary, of course, being the studio that was responsible for putting out the most recent American version of Godzilla, the movie. So we had the, I think, 2015 movie came out from Gareth Edwards, if I'm not mistaken, and then a few years later that was followed by Godzilla King of the Monsters, and then now coming out soon, I think they're going to be going straight to a streaming release, is going to be the Godzilla vs. King Kong movie. And of course Kong Skull Island is in this universe as well, and there were Kong comics and there were Kong comics that were related to the Legendary Godzilla comics, but I'm not talking about Kong right now. So there are two Legendary comics that are part of the Legendary film universe. One of them is Awakening, and this is a prelude to the original movie. This shows the awakening of Godzilla, basically. And then the second one is Godzilla Aftershock. I've actually not read that one, but as far as I understand, it's supposed to take place between Godzilla and Godzilla King of the Monsters. So that's everything for Godzilla in collected editions in comics. Like I said earlier in the video, I'm not talking about different stuff that was not collected. I'm not talking about all the various manga, because there's a lot of stuff from Japan that we don't have in the US, which I would love to have in the US if, you know, a publisher over here would like to produce that content for us over here. But that's it. So we got all the stuff, the one book from Marvel, 3 books from Dark Horse, and a bunch of stuff from IDW. Now, right now, IDW has not had a new Godzilla title since 2016. The newest Godzilla comic was that Aftershock comic in 2019 relating to the films. So I'm hoping that IDW will pick it back up again and do a new Godzilla series, some new Godzilla miniseries, because they are always so fun to see. Like I said, they choose a lot of awesome creators to work on these titles, and I would love to see them do more, because I really liked the pedigree of their material. Anyway, that's what we got. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that this was entertaining and informative for you Godzilla fans out there like myself, and happy hunting if you're trying to track down some of those harder to find volumes. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.